Postpartum and anxiety to me mean debilitation. After my son was born, there were days when I just couldn't get out of bed. It was really, really hard.
Postpartum depression and anxiety to me is kind of just this overwhelming feeling like not everything is kind of going your way and you constantly feel overwhelmed.
Postpartum depression and anxiety is a liar. It tells you that you're not good enough, or it tells you that your baby needs a better mother or a different mother, or that your baby would be better off without you, and none of that is true.
When I was pregnant with my daughter, it was probably the worst 9 months of my life. I was just sad, just cripplingly sad. I know that I should have mentioned my depression and anxiety to my doctors, but there is this feeling of, especially for women, I can do this, I can get through this, I'm a woman, hear me roar, we were made to have children, all these things. So I would say, oh yeah, I'm not having a very good day, but there was no, I can't do this, I'm suffering.
With Robbie, he was about 2 months old. We were having a really bad day, and he was just inconsolable. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And being so overwhelmed and thinking, I can't do this anymore. This isn't gonna work. What did I get myself into? At that moment, I didn't wanna be a mom anymore. And that was a really, really hard moment for me. I would be no one without my children, and that moment of wishing you weren't even a mom anymore was really, really bad.
I actually had a nightmare, a horrific dream. I hate even saying it. In the nightmare, I had smothered my baby, and it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. The next day, I called my therapist, and I said, I need to come in, there's something wrong.
Very shortly after my husband went back to work, I had no idea what to do with this tiny baby. And there was one day where he wouldn't stop crying. And I turned the swing on and it wasn't helping, and he wouldn't go to sleep for hours. And I said to him, if you don't stop crying, I'm gonna take you to the fire station and I won't be your mama anymore.
I think the hardest challenge I've had bonding with my kids through the depression is because I couldn't get out of bed those first few months. My son would just lay in bed and cry. I mean, I'd get him up and I'd change his diaper and I'd put him straight back to bed because I couldn't get out of bed. Some days I wouldn't get up until 11. So you've got this baby who's just a teeny tiny thing, and he's just crying and crying and crying. A year later, the neighbor said something. She said, I almost came over and helped you out, but I didn't know if that would be okay. And I wish that she had. I wish that someone had.
They say that when you have a baby, it's love at first sight, and it's not always true. For me, I didn't bond with my son for months. I felt like he preferred my husband, and I think in a lot of cases that was true. He didn't want for those basic needs, but when it came to an emotional connection to his mother, he definitely did. I feel like we didn't truly start bonding until he was at least 1.
With Robbie, I had a really hard time bonding with him. He was my child, I loved him, but I didn't feel that connection with him. There wasn't that bonding until he was almost 2. I definitely was in denial. I didn't want to seek help. I thought this is, normal hormones, I can deal with it, and I didn't seek help. With Edmund, I definitely was a little bit nervous, but once I did, and they helped me realize to do some counseling, up my vitamin D, because that can contribute, and put me on some medication. It made a world of difference.
My husband noticed actually my depression this year more than before, and I know that getting on medication was the best thing that happened to us. He said he finally got his wife back.
I was simultaneously terrified and thankful for the ability to speak to my midwife about what I was feeling. I didn't tell her the extent of the thoughts and feelings that I was having because they were scary to me. And I was afraid if I told her, hey, I'm telling my baby that I'm going to take him to the firehouse and leave him there, that they would just take him from me. And I was scared that if I told them all of the intrusive thoughts I was having and the really vivid dreams, that I would be locked up. And then he wouldn't see me again anyway.
The biggest thing to removing the stigma of postpartum depression and anxiety is just get it out there. There is help for postpartum depression. There is things you can do. You don't have to suffer through it.
Postpartum depression and anxiety is definitely something around which we need to remove stigma. We need to tell moms it's okay, it happens, it's not a reflection on you as a mother. They're not going to take your kids. They're going to get you the help you need.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
I think the best way to remove stigma about postpartum depression is to talk about it. People need to share their stories. The best way to remove any sort of stigma on mental illness is to talk about it. It is so important to talk about it. To any moms out there struggling, get help. Talk to your doctor. Don't be afraid to go on medication. Don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to find groups to talk to.
There's a lot of hormones and emotions that go through after you have a new baby. If you know that you're having lasting feelings of doubt, you're doubting yourself, you're doubting your role as a mother, your decision to have a child, you're doubting all that, you feel overwhelmed, you feel like you can't get ahead, anything that's out of the normal, just talk to somebody about it.
Reach out to someone you trust, even if it's just a friend or a family member. Talk and don't stop talking until you feel like you're getting the help and the attention that you need.
Don't be afraid of feeling like a failure because you're not. You're Superwoman. You're a mom. You have a kid. You have babies. And you are amazing.